around here. It's pretty interesting. For this month, we have three occurrences where we do have the triple sixes in the month of June. And so this is the second time that we're seeing this for June the 16th, 2026. And then the next time we'll see this again is June the 26th, 2026, which is pretty interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, the last time this happened was 10 years ago, and 10, the number 10 is also a very uh, spiritual high number. But the reason why I am recording this right now, as we go into the evening time here on the West Coast, is the fervor over the peace agreement between um, America and Iran, and how the state, that state in the Middle East, who shall not be named officially, is having a meltdown, and that is the president of that state, when inquiring, I'm not even saying inquiring, but just demanded to see the agreement that was fashioned between the President of the United States, President Trump, and the government of Iran. The United States said, hell no, we ain't showing you ish. And so this is very, very significant because for decades, since World War I and World War II, these people have been in lockstep. I'm talking about America has been in lockstep with that state in the Middle East. So this is a significant departure that we haven't seen or witnessed in our lifetime, and which is very pointing in the regards to the change of dynamic movement of spiritual power or control over people, places, and things all over this planet, including the world. So yes, the hold of that state in the Middle East is broken. That's what it seems like. It seems like the hold over America, or at least the governments of America, is broken. And also, the download that I'm getting is that there's a lot of infighting in the upper echelons of this wicked world. I'm talking about the oligarchs or the elites or the royal houses, and those corporate elites, and those um, tech technology elites that are out there, like the fella that ran to Argentina, and the Elon Musk of the world. That there's a lot of infighting where they were lockstep in fellowship with one another. There is what looks to be divisions, real serious divisions, and I say serious because you have to take into account we are seeing just the tip of the iceberg of what is really going on, and for the simple fact that the disagreements, and even with the President Trump stating when uh, that prime minister over there in the state of Israel had demanded to see the peace agreement that was made between the United States and Iran. And the president saying, no, I'm not showing you ish. And of course, it seems like there's rumors going around where the state of Israel, that they're, I guess, they're putting out there in the media that they're threatening to release more Epstein files. And you know what the Most High said? That's not even a flex anymore. I mean, this man, I'm talking about the president of the United States, released like what, two or 3 million already. So you know what? I don't know if it's his genius or if it is by divine measure or both, but it seems like this particular president has the gumption to test waters. And so, in the fact of him testing the waters by releasing the 3 million files, knowing that there's millions more, to see how the public would react. And what I'm stipulating here is the Caucasian race here in America who's received the best benefits of the horrors of what has happened to the descendants of American slaves. They have received those benefits from ill-gotten gains. And you know what it's been? Crickets. It's been largely crickets. And why do I say crickets? In the face of people have been reporting and a lot of people have been commenting on the files and everything else surrounding that. And there have been a lot of people who come forward to tell their stories. Crickets in the way that they haven't torn this country apart. That's what I'm bracing up against. I'm always bracing things up against Armageddon and looking for those signs and signals and roadmaps that are leading to that moment. Because we are, I mean, it can jump off at any time, of course, but we are now in that vein. So it would mean that the loss of power of cohesion of the people at the top has to be broken up first. They have to be weakened. And so what I'm seeing right now, what the Most High has illuminated for me, is that's exactly what the signs that we're seeing. It's worse. It's even worse behind the scenes. One can imagine that there's probably a lot of cursing and screaming and threats and warnings. And there could be even attempted, you know what, on people's lives, and which apparently has been largely unsuccessful. But you can't put anything past the state in the Middle East and what they have done and the vein in which they operate. And quite frankly, because they have operated in such a singular way, that many of the methods, if anybody's a good student of studying them, especially in the upper echelons, and it could be that this president or who's ever working with him behind the scenes is probably well aware of how just looking at the functionality of the what I'm going to call now the synagogue of Satan, that they know their methods. And so if they know their methods, they probably know how to block them. And also, the biggest undergirding of that is that the angels are here. The angels are here, and the angels are protecting the Most High's people, and they possibly could be um, dealing in part with those people still, especially here in the United States, the government of the United States. And it's probably not the whole Congress or whole Senate or whatever you want to, what have you, the whole House. It's key people. And it is most likely people we couldn't pick out on a lineup. We wouldn't even be able to identify that they had anything to do with how the politics and how the movement of power used to run through their fingers. I've been told before that there's the power behind the power. There's the power behind the throne, and that is the power behind is the one that's the strongest. And so that is being broken apart from within. I, will say to you that we are watching the evidence of the power being broken up from within, and hallelujah on that. Hallelujah on that. They will never come together again. They will never be cohesive again. There will never be peace, even if they scream peace. It will never be peace. There's too much that has gone on. And most importantly, it's time, we're in the middle of judgment. We're in the middle of not even in the middle, we're in the tail end of their judgment. And so we're in the point in when it all has to come down. And I know that everybody's been saying that for years and years, for decades. And even people up to 100 years have been waiting. Some people who are part of Christ's kingdom are nearing 100 years old right now. And so this is something that hasn't been happening in the last few months. This is something that's been going on. The end has been going on as a process for many, many years, many years. And I'm reminded of the old adage that you become the most dangerous person in the room when you lose your fear. And perhaps because of the infighting, they recognize now, probably some people in this administration recognize now who truly is the synagogue of Satan, and also they may have received some evidence that they're not going to win anything anymore, and they're not going to prevail in their diabolical plans anymore. And now the scab of their what they've been doing as a method to entrap people has been shown up. And so if they are, in other words, proving themselves to the powers that shouldn't be, everyone else around them who's not a part of the synagogue of Satan, if they have unequivocally proven themselves to be that with these Epstein files and everyone else that we haven't heard about, but we know exists in each city throughout the United States, and I maintain throughout the world, then they realize that the promise is not with them, that the promise of salvation, the promise of receiving the grace of the Most High, uh, possibly irregardless to whatever sins you've committed, belongs to a different race of people than the ones who have been fronting that as the image of themselves being the people to the world. And so I want to read something out of John, out of the Bible, John chapter 8, verse 44. And it says, "You are of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it." So this is so huge, okay? Because for the synagogue of Satan, this is the pronouncement of how they operate. And you think of the people who were backing Epstein and the race of people that he claims to belong to, and how they fashioned a network to do the devilry, to do what their father does. He's an unaliver, he's a trickster and a trapper. And so you will know God by his children by his fruits, and you'll know Satan's children by their fruits. And so perhaps, maybe there are some out there who are not of the children of Israel who finally have woken up. Um, it may be still too late, but better late than never. and and they may have realized they don't need to listen to them anymore because they just don't have it like that. Why? Because I maintain, I've said this in so many of my recordings, Satan has been bound. He can no longer operate on this planet. And there's a difference between the planet and the worlds. Worlds are different peoples and customs and technologies or mechanisms in which they rule themselves with. Okay? And the planet is the thing that human beings reside on. They're two separate things. And the person who made the deepest distinction was Satan himself when he said these worlds that the Most High has given him. So he knew that he would have more than one kind of world, not the planet. All right. And so now just reiterating that, if he is gone and the demons have been subdued or removed, then these people have no more power. They are operating under their own esteem. And that is nothing. It's nothing. Okay. And so quite possibly the even if they are wickedly wise, they don't have the unction or the power to back them up anymore. They just only have methods. Methods that are failing drastically. There's a report, and I haven't seen it yet, but maybe you have. There's a report regarding these what do you call these the soccer trials or whatnot that are the World Cup that is here in America right now going on, and that apparently when Iran had opened up their flag in the middle of the game area, that the whole crowd cheered. It just went up in cheers. And that should tell you everything you need to know about how much power the synagogue of Satan has in their coffers, little to none. And so, yes, people who probably want to act, who had wanted to act boldly in the past can now act boldly in this moment. And it is marvelous in our eyes. So I'm going to read one more verse here in Luke chapter 3, verse 7. And this is when uh, uh, Jesus, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, came and was talking to the multitude out in the wilderness. And this is very interesting what he said. He said, then he said to the multitude that came out to be baptized by him, brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Excuse me, that was actually John the Baptist who stated that. And this is real deep because they will be called out that in the last moments, they'll try to wiggle their way out of it. They'll try, even though they have the heart of Satan still in them. And this is something that that I see even in this administration, of course. Of course, now what we're probably witnessing is that now that they have gotten word, and they probably just from any intel from Crisis Kingdom administrators who are out here anonymously, they've gotten word. And of course, they know from behind the scenes, whatever technology and whatever information that they've always had that they wouldn't share with the world because they kept them in bondage by changing this world into a false one. We don't even know what or the true history is not readily out there. We're not living under that. We're living under a complete lie. So even the people in the administration who are in these certain factions that are in technology, that are part of the oligarchs or whoever, that are breaking up now they want to run away from their devilish deeds. And I bet you some of them are going to try to run to those who have the Spirit of Christ in them. Now they're ready to back out. And so John is saying that they're den of vipers. You waited until the last minute. You waited until the last minute for you to kind of go ahead and seek some peace and seek some cover from your devilish ways. And so we have to be aware of the time that we're in. There's only a certain kind of person who has lived in this world and may have benefited from it that could possibly be a part of the Lord's great army. And their family members, if they are a part and they go with that, being a part of it, could cover what they do in the Lord's great army, cover over for their families and have them get to safety. But it's only going to be a select few because of the deeds that have happened to us here, the real true children of Israel, the descendants of American slaves. Y'all can't just all en masse run in and go, okay, now we actually want to do right. We want your forgiveness. No, and not expected to bear the brunt of it. It's been prophesied. It's been prophesied, and the Most High has said that His word does not go out in the world and then just come back to Him void. No, somebody's got to get an ass whooping. Somebody's got to get spanked. And of course, here's the main thing that I want to finish up with: timing. You know, you're dealing with the Elohim, who are all about the time. They put it in this universe of how much mathematically precision it is. It is par excellence. It's beyond perfect. And so if you don't do it in their time, then it's a moot point if you try to do it later in your time. And then others are so vicious that they will try to straddle the fence. Well, I'm going to have one foot over in here to see if this will work out for me. And then I'm going to put my other foot on this one to see if this, and whichever one works out, that's the one I'm going with. You can't do that. You can't play with the Most High in that manner. It's either you're in or you're out. And you don't get to do it on your time. You do it when you know. And when the Most High has put it into you, especially if the Most High has shown you these individuals and has put it in your mind and even in your heart that you got to move, you've got to make a move. And the Most High would have given you instruction to do so. And if you don't do it in the time allotted by the Most High, then it means nothing if you do it afterwards on your own time. It means nothing. And so it seems to me, and I know that I had prayed about this, about producing justice and how important that is for the descendants of American slaves to be a part of it, and a significant part of it. And the Most High seemingly has responded by stopping what was ever going on with Iran. And now there's just this deal. And of course, the synagogue of Satan is in an uproar because they don't want to go down alone when they've had so many people involved in their devilry. And we have to consider the fact that they're probably completely delusional. And in due course, which is right now, they are fully committed. They couldn't come out of it even if they wanted to. That's another thing you have to be aware of. They can't stop this even if they wanted to stop. They can't stop. You know, there's a point, they say in certain, well, not in certain, but in all addictions, that if you don't get help, it will take you to the, to that six feet under. That at some point, there's some addictions that it changes your brain chemistry where you can't even turn back from that. So everything now is about timing, about a time prophecy. It's not willy-nilly what's going on here. And no one gets to play games with the Most High God, with the creators of the universe. And as I said before, those who make up Christ's kingdom administration are not to be found in the government. They are everyday folks. Many of you have seen them on the streets or in grocery stores or shopping around or whatever, but you've seen them out there and you would never know unless you got close to them or unless you were in their families or unless you were part of the intelligence agencies, unless you were part of the apparatus of the government and the military where those people do have access. And of course, they tell us how well they surveillance everybody, so they would be aware of them. And this is what those scriptures are relating to, those men and women. And I will close with this. Ultimately, everything now is under divine prophecy, and it's up to the Most High as how things are to roll out. And we are warned, no, warn is not a good word. We are reminded and encouraged that the Most High has seen this from beginning to the end. The end has already been written. And so we are just doing the outworking of that right now on this human plane that we are on. All roads lead to Armageddon, and there are no side escape hatches. Thank you for listening.